straight to the front pages of the newspapers because that's what we're going to next. We do have our guest, analyst who's in the house. We have Uade Ahimie who's here. Thank you so much for being here, Uade.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Good morning, Olive.
Morning.
Well.
So let's start off with the Punch very quickly, and let's go straight to see what the Punch has in store for each and every Nigerian. ASU VCs decry profs 525,000 monthly pay. Really? They say dons insist on salary review as senior lecturers and 386,000 education labor ministers meet today. Jonathan demands credible INEC chair, decries defections. Federal government nets 393 billion naira tax from Dangote and 9 others. APC mocks ADC over chairmanship tussle. Party members can challenge Tinubu, says APC. And also we have jailed monarch Oshu to obtain U.S. court's judgment. That's another story to look into. I'll take one more before I bring in Uade to react to one of these stories. It says Lagos man killed in fight, suspect arrested. That's a big story that took place. It just happened yesterday. I heard it was in 2 separate markets. While one was happening in another marketplace, there was another one taking place. But let's focus on the jailed monarch Oshun to obtain U.S. court's judgment. I don't know if you followed this story. It's quite a shocker that a monarch who has a home there in the United States of America would actually go ahead and engage in fraud.
Well, fraud is not excuse me. Fraud is not beyond anybody. It actually comes as a result of greed. So reading the story, it was quite amazing that a monarch in 2020 during COVID, he tried to play the game using the small business benefits that were coming to Americans, and because he has dual citizenship. But the funny part is when the state government says, oh, they haven't seen the court judgment and all. So I now started digging, and it's right on the page of the United States Attorney's Office, Northern District of Ohio, where there's a press release clearly stating that the Nigerian monarch sentenced to over 4 years. He has forfeited his house in Ohio.
Yeah.
He has also given up about over $96,000 that was found in his bank account. So what does it take? Is it that the government themselves have not seen this press release? Because if it's right there and it's public knowledge, then these are things we need to start looking at. Should he continue to be the monarch? Because he's in my own opinion, if he can do it in America, then he can do it in Nigeria. If you do it once, then there's a tendency that you can do it again. So this is really interesting, where the government is, playing the ostrich, saying, we've not seen the court order and all. But there is a press release. If there's a press release, it means that if you go further, I'm sure you will find the court documents that have been stamped and signed. And really, it's quite embarrassing for not just Nigeria, but the institution itself as a monarch.
Very sad indeed. Anyway, let's take a look at another story on the front page of the Punch there. This one here talks about, I'd like us to look at it. Jonathan demands credible INEC chair, decries defections. Just recently, the PDP had said they want to select former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as their frontman. Well, those are rumors, but the rumors seem to intensify. So far, so good. That's one story we want to look at. What do you make of that statement that we need credible INEC chair due to defections and what's going on in the party? And you can also try to look through some of the political issues that we have on the front page of the Punch.
Okay, so let me start with the credible INEC chair. I do agree with that, because the last elections, in my own opinion, I don't think the INEC chairman was independent, despite the fact you have independent in front of INEC. The first letter I represents independent, but I don't think he was independent. Reasons best known to him, but when you also look at the fact that the elections conducted under President Jonathan seemed to show some level of independence by the INEC chairman. That was the first time an incumbent was losing an election in Nigeria. You know, so I think his statements are right. We need to have someone who is seen to be independent and who plays that independence. We remember the Humphrey Nwosu saga. So we need people like that who, irrespective of what happens, we're looking at Nigeria in terms of Nigeria, not because of the fact that someone or one party or the other is who you tend to, or you are seemingly been paying allegiance to. Then coming to the issue of Jonathan and the PDP wanting him or trying to woo him to come back and run for elections. Like we said the last time, I think what the PDP is trying to do is say, okay, even if we want to get someone from the South, are we looking at that person, even if he wins the election, running for just one term? If you get a Jonathan, then he can only do one term, and then it goes back to the North. That
looks like a pretty sell for the North.
Exactly. So that's what they're trying to sell. So that at the end of the day, what you're now doing is that whoever runs with the president, if it's Jonathan that comes back, then you say, okay, this is probably the heir apparent. And then when you come to the fact that they say, oh, the presidential ticket has been zoned to the South, it was a statement made by the National Executive Committee, which, in my own opinion, going through the PDP constitution, clearly states that the onus of zoning lies with the National Convention.
And they've zoned it to the South already.
So the northern youths do not agree.
No. Huh?
The northern youths in the PDP.
Yeah, they've zoned it to the South already.
Because they have not followed due process. What this PDP constitution says that it's only the National Convention that can decide in terms of zoning, not the National Executive Committee. I had to go read that constitution to check it. That's what the constitution says, and that's the what's it called? That's what they're putting forward.
But pretty much everybody in the PDP accepts and agrees that it should be zoned to the South. Pretty much.
Whether you accept,
not everyone.
Wait. Whether you accept or not, Joe,
everyone that was present.
No, Joe.
At the
National Executive Committee,
yes.
Which alienates some people.
Whether it alienates A or B, the National Convention shall be this is the PDP constitution.
All right, go ahead.
The National Convention shall be the supreme controlling authority of the party within the limits prescribed in the Constitution, and it shall be the principal representative, policy-making and administrating body of the party. So zoning is a policy. It's not the National Executive
Some members
Committee.
will argue.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean.
Except in the exercise of function granted only to other bodies specified in this Constitution or in the regulations made pursuant to these provisions of the Constitution, the National Convention shall have supremacy in all matters pertaining to the party, and all officers and organs of the party shall be bound in the exercise of their functions by the decision of the National Convention. The policy of the party derives from the resolution of the National Convention shall be amended or revoked only by a subsequent resolution of the National Convention. National Convention shall have an exercise authority to formulate policies and programs for the party, elect or remove national officers of the party. That's just the exercise. So you cannot say that
I think I was looking for that word, elect and remove.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, Olive, I don't know what paper you want to take.
I want us to go to another paper because I want to see how, to see if we can touch all papers. Let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. 2027, despite endorsing...
They said you shouldn't talk about politics. You remember this? That don't talk about, but what is going on?
Exactly. He said...
why won't we talk about it?
He said
no,
that
we should
focus on governance and the policies that have been made by the current administration, that campaigning is in 2020, that election is in 2027. That is still far. I said, no, it feels like after 2025 is 2027. Anyway, the big story here says...
It's part of politics now.
It says, despite endorsing Tinubu, APC throws ticket open. I think I want us to touch on that. Ondo government bans elaborate graduation ceremonies for nursery
I totally agree with that.
Parents will love it. You will love it.
I totally agree with that.
Tell us why you agree.
So let's remember one thing. There are stages of growth. Once you start from that point and you start to make What if the child goes to secondary school and doesn't pass? And they say you have graduated from primary school. And then you get to secondary school, you do another, from secondary school, these days, I know how much it costs me they are doing prom, they are doing it's a lot of money. Parents have to, some parents go borrow, what's it called? And I'm like, it's okay. And then when you get to university again, when you finish, you do graduation.
JSS3?
JSS3. Which one paying for this? This one employed individuals.
And you know the irony? You pay for everything. You pay for the prom, then you go and make the dress.
You pay for
you buy
the
shoe.
Dress, you buy the shoe.
You buy the suit. You pay for everything that is on. You pay for.
And when did we
minus the school fees?
When did we start doing prom? It's like we are now becoming very,
it's a
very
big deal
Western.
now. It's a big deal. The one that baffles me
I went
most,
through two, and I know how much it cost me.
The one that baffles me the most is from primary school to secondary school. You spend graduating secondary school, junior
secondary to senior secondary school.
You spend then SS3, they are finished.
So I might as well, when I graduate from from primary school, I might as well just decide I'm not doing anything.
Another thing that even puts pressure on parents is this celebration, even in kindergarten, as young as kindergarten,
even the kindergarten,
when they're doing birthday parties, and even birthday parties in the classes, when you have to buy party packs. A friend of mine was saying, hey, if you see the quality of party packs my daughter has been bringing home, I hope they're not expecting me to do the same when it's my time.
But you see, because the other thing about it is when you don't do it, your child feels that,
left out.
You're a bad parent. But it's time for Nigerians to start going back to the basics. You are the parent. You are the one who provides the resources. If you don't have it, please don't go and borrow or steal so that you can belong. You don't need that to
I've
belong.
literally had someone come to me and say they want to borrow money because the child is graduating. And I looked and I said, really?
Will you pay back?
This was like some years ago. And
Priorities.
Like 15,000 naira. 15,000.
With that graduation that you borrowed the money, will he bring more money to you? Because the child graduates, then you are going to start paying for another thing.
Okay.
But let me just quickly touch on
the big story.
On the APC.
Yes.
Yes, so the president has been endorsed. And the first time, immediately I saw it, the first thing that came to me was, okay, they also need to raise money. And if you listen to the quote from the secretary, he says it also means that when the time comes, we will make our timetable known so that for anybody who wants to aspire for the president of this country on the platform of the APC, no one will be denied the opportunity to purchase the nominations form. So basically and now there are two ways, you can look at it from two ways. Some people really want to contribute towards the party, but they don't want to contribute in their own name. So of course, if I buy the nomination forms, it's part of my contributions to the party. Then any money I spend in terms of campaigning, and I can go and campaign on behalf of the president then, and I spend my money to do that. So there are different ways to look at it. And immediately I saw that the first thing that came to me is that, okay, you need to have an avenue to raise additional money. And that's what it is for me. And that quote.
As if anybody would even have the mind. How many people will have the mind?
Right. What do you mean by have the mind?
Except they just want to maybe increase their resume to say, okay, I was
a presidential aspirant.
No, but they can't even get to aspirants. Because you have to have been a party flag bearer. Presidential aspirant at party level.
Like one of our guests joined us earlier, and I asked a question. Remember in 2022 when President Tinubu was running for president?
Yeah.
Out of all the candidates, would I say candidates? No. All the aspirants, I beg your pardon, who were running for that same position. Remember the states, they kept coming on stage and saying they renounce that they hand over to president and so on. Only a few persons remained, and one of them was the former vice president, Oshibajo, who still did not renounce his, he kept going. But my point is, at this juncture, if you were an aspirant in the same political party, would you dare try?
Why would I dare try?
Let me try. I mean,
you pay how many millions? Knowing that the party in several caucus have endorsed
it depends on what my end game is. I have to also look at what my end game is.
I mean, look at
that I challenge him doesn't mean that
all
I don't
the
support
governors
him.
are
Yes,
behind
he
it.
has been
very good
endorsed.
angle.
The political party.
That I
and all
challenge you doesn't mean that
He
I
wants
don't,
to win.
I
You
don't
may want
Or is it just a
appointments.
strategy to say, okay,
yeah,
you just challenge me? Then,
I will
then-
try so that I won't be like in 2019 that 14 million people, 14 million PDP members endorsed. So technically, and then when they did the elections in 2019, the president got maybe 16 million votes. So already he had gotten 14 million from the APC convention.
Or another strategy can also be because a person might decide it's time to make myself known and establish some form of
I
dominance.
plan,
So that even if I don't
position
win,
myself
they
for
will
the future.
give me
So it might not be 2031, it might be 2039.
and care to look at this, Olive, just to highlight what you said. I mean, I was also looking at it while we're having that conversation, so that if I don't win, I will get appointment. That's true. Everyone who was an aspirant in 2022 in preparation for 2023 who renounced their position for presidency, if you check the list, almost about 50 to 70% of them are currently appointed.
So
Example is, what's the name? Uju, the former Women Affairs, who is no longer serving in that capacity. You also have the current Minister of Defense. He was going there. You have the current Senate President.
There are different
The current Senate
strategies.
President, Godswill Akpabio, was also, he also made that
So, and he became Senate
renounced,
President.
And then he became Senate President. The current Minister of Defense also renounced, and then he's now Minister of Defense.
So there are different. So political strategies differ. So and then, like I said, but when I read that quote, it was just obvious that okay, they also have to bring in money.
Anyway.
Okay, I still want to take
okay.
a few
Yes, go
headlines
on.
before we move to the next paper, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. But before then, I'd also want to mention, if you want to call, the numbers to call are on your TV screen. We'll take a few calls this morning so that we can hear your thoughts regarding any of the stories that we've discussed on Breakfast Central this morning and on the front pages of the papers. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, 50% of Nigerians living below poverty line, according to TUC President. Health, paracetamol, ibuprofen quietly fueling antibiotic resistance, evolving global health problems. And this is interesting because any small thing, people have popped paracetamol. Oh, my head is aching me, paracetamol. Oh, my back, ibuprofen. Anyway, China boosts Nigeria's food relief efforts with $1 million. Bagudu hails growing trade between countries. Federal government to clear retirees' pension backlogs with 758 billion naira bond. CBN goes tough on POS operators, orders geotagging of terminals to tackle fraud and increase surveillance. Now, let's go to our next paper. Exactly. The Vanguard. The Vanguard big story has the same big story as the other papers, but I want us to take one at the bottom left. 762 Nigerians killed by kidnappers in 1 year. The lives of Nigerians. You know, every other day we're talking about pray for Gaza, pray for this place, pray for that place.
We always pray. We are not acting.
But we have our own huge problems here.
And so we're always praying. We are not acting. They say prayer without action comes to nothing. You can pray that you want to go from point A to B, and you are sleeping there, you won't get from point A to B. And we are continually praying. But the level of insecurity, though the level of reporting has gone down significantly. But this comes from one of the leading organizations who are focused on security. My good friends, I won't give you free publicity. However, they've said that over 2.5 trillion have been also paid in terms of over 2.5 trillion, but in total about 10% of it has been paid in terms of ransoms across the country in 1 year. So you just find out that that's the latest, biggest industry in the country. And what's fueling it? Government's passiveness in terms of what's it called. First and foremost, let me commend our troops who are continually, battling to protect the sovereignty of this country. But what you find out is whether you call them terrorists or you call them bandits or you call them whatever, it is a lucrative sector in Nigeria, and that's why you have so much money in the system. But nobody's seeing it. People are paying behind the counter. People are going into the forest. We saw a video not too long ago. The police is now saying, "Oh, we'll give the person 10 million for saving the driver," where people were kidnapped.
Imagine. Let's let's hold that thought. We have Uche calling from Abia State. Good morning, Uche. Thank you for calling. Let's hear you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. It was reported that about 200 and something first-class, lecturers left UNILAG. 200 and something. Imagine our president donating 100, is it 1,000 or 100, $1,000 to those that won the trophy. And ASU is threatening to go on strike. And a professor is earning about 500 something thousand in a month. If you calculate the money that our president gave those, ladies that won the trophy, it's about, is it 18, months, 18 years or 19 years of a salary of a professor. Calculate it. About 18 or 19 years of a salary of a professor. How can we talk about, standard of education while federal government is not promoting education? That is the problem. And the issue of to be a number one president is only demanded if you can read and write. You see, that is why the standard of education is, going down low and low. Until they do the needful, we are not going to, make it. God bless you people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Too. I mean, very, very valid point, because we took that. That was on the front pages of the papers yesterday. Over 200 lecturers resigning in UNILAG. Then front page of Punch today, we're seeing ASU VCs decry professors 525,000 naira monthly pay. And I mean, in the flip side, the top right corner of the Vanguard reports, Uzodinma raises minimum wage to 104,000 naira. And that's something that, I would like you to speak about as well.
Well, commendable. Like I always say, when those in governance do something that is commendable, let's commend them.
Yeah.
So it's commendable. Part of the reasons are IGR in Imo State has gone up, so they have some more money. So planning is a bit, is better. So you have more funding that you can pay civil servants, doctors about 500,000 a month, which is commendable, and I say that. And I was speaking to this earlier somewhere, and the ripple effect can be really good, because if you have a doctor that earns 500,000 naira every month, it means that he earns 6 million in a year. Well, let me show you the ripple effects. If you say his personal income tax on the average is 10%. That means at least 600,000 is coming back into government.
So all he has left is like 5.4%.
So you see, you're only looking at you're only looking at what is coming to you, aside from the spending. What comes out to government?
There's the new tax.
There's other things that you're going to spend money on. There are other things that will come back into government that could increase government revenues. That could also make sure that government could put in the infrastructure that require. That would also improve the system. These are all ripple effects, and that's one of the reasons why you need to have they would say 20 to 30% of disposable income.
Okay.
Because that's what actually what's called oils the wheels of economic movement. So when you look at all those things, disposable income, so you invest somewhere, the spending income is 70. If your spending income cannot even move more than once, and then you don't even have extras to do those things, and then government is not even getting enough salaries for you to say, okay, income tax, because the states really are the ones who collect the personal income tax.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's commendable. I agree. But the other thing is, I hope it's not something that when the new governor comes and says, oh, the IGR is no longer coming in, and then, or even during his own term, we're hearing 6 months down the line, oh, they've increased it to 500,000, but they're still paying us 30,000 minimum.
Or they are owing 6 months salary.
6 months salary.
Yeah. So it could be that they are owing 6 months salary because they are paying, or because some states, or even on the 70,000, they've not started paying. Even some states, when they moved it from 18,000 to 30,000, it took them 2 years to start paying. And these are the realities. But of course, the question is, what are you doing with so much money that come to you?
All right. Let's take a call from Kelvin. He's calling from Ebute Meta. Good morning, Kelvin. Thank you for calling us. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Kelvin. Good morning. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good
Oh, thank you, my sister. Thank you, everybody in the studio. Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I say thank you, everyone in the studio this morning.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, please. What I want to say, my own contribution here is that let's do things in a right way in this country for once. All of these are politicians in Nigeria. Their children are schooling abroad. Are those in foreign countries, are they owing their lecturer salaries? What is going on in our country? Let's learn to do things the right way. Let's not look at individuals. All these people that are owing positions in Nigeria, some of them are children of a nobody. Their parents were not even educated. But when they come to the corridor of power, they see money, they want to impoverish people. Where are their children today? Why should you be putting people on a station, a lecturer, a teacher that teaches them to get to this level? What are we talking about? We have so much money in Nigeria. How much does the governor aid? How much does the House member aid? Senators? Where are those money going to? Their life, their wives are living lavishly. Their children are living lavishly. But when it comes to other people's, they will bring drama. Brother, please, let us treat everybody the same way. You are treating yourself and your wife and your children at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very much, Kelvin. You can hear the anger.
Well, and I feel for him truly, and like I always say, 90% of the people in governance today are products of Nigeria. Nigerian educational system, and you destroyed it. I am one. You are. Did you school abroad? No. Did you school abroad?
No.
So what are we talking about? Our own parents, my own father, went to school abroad and came back to Nigeria and put a system in place so that I could get the education I want. But we are struggling to give our own children the education. Instead, what we are more interested in is graduating, aside from sending them, graduating from primary school and throwing lavish parties.
But the good news is the federal government has said that they are meeting with ASU today.
Yes.
So let's hope that they'll be able to sign the ASU federal government agreement into law. I mean,
the ones that they signed, the one that they signed in 2009,
they've not implemented.
So they said they've not implemented one.
So
exactly. So what are we talking about?
So it's 2009
so we should just continue to sign agreements.
They need to go and review the implementation of that agreement.
Let them even start going and okay, there are some things that you could quickly implement. Implement them. And then you see that, okay, we're doing something. But now you're going to sit down again and review it. And then you sign another one. And then it take another 16 years to implement it.
You know what? I'm still going to say this. I said this yesterday. The current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had made a video, a statement while he was at an event during his pre-election period. And then he said that education will not fail, that there will be no more strikes. Aside from that, he also mentioned that if there's no power, they should hold him responsible. He should not be voted in for the second term. We think the one on power, it's a comme si comme ça. Power has,
education
has improved in some areas.
Well, they'll tell you that they will tell us that education
will still having challenges. Hopefully this afternoon will prove, tomorrow we hope to see in the headlines that federal government signs 2000
Joe,
into law,
you sign,
increases lecturers.
Joe, you sign a contract to
implement. I'm not done with the headlines. To be implemented immediately.
Let's leave the headlines. Joe, you sign a contract with New Central, and you decide that you are not going to do all the conditions that you agreed to. Or New Central signs the contract with you. Let me even use the other. You come to work every day. On the basis that at the end of the month,
you are expecting XYZ.
You are expecting XYZ. Every month,
you see X.
There's no even X, not to talk about the Y and the Z.
New Central is not like that.
No, I know, I get your point. So that's it, really. Then they'll come back again 2 years down the line and say, Joe, come on, let's review this, your contract, and sign again. Let me leave it like that.
Fire.
Okay, I don't know if we have enough time to take in one more story. There are a number of others here. I'll just run through the headlines still. Voter apathy aids bad leaders, Khan warns Nigerians. I await full briefing on Abuja-Kaduna train disaster, President Tinubu says. 2027, our presidential ticket open despite endorsing Tinubu, APC says. And we've taken the ones at the top. Capital market surge proves investor confidence in Nigeria's reforms, says Tinubu. Jonathan slams defection, 6 electoral reforms. Federal government ASU meet today, allows elites push to resolve issues. And finally, Uzodinma raises minimum wage to 104,000 naira in Imo State, and workers jubilate. These are the stories that we've had this morning on the front page of the newspaper. But I also wanted us, I just need to be sure. The Punch newspaper had one story at the bottom that I think maybe we should have touched on lightly. Lagos man killed in fight, suspect arrested. And if I'm correct, this is the one that happened in Balogun Market yesterday. It looks like it's that one. But let me just double check. Yes. It says, the Lagos State Police Command has arrested a man, Ebuka Adindu, for allegedly stabbing Sadiq Ibrahim to death during a violent confrontation in the Mandelas area of Lagos on Wednesday. A social media user, Jack Fleet, who first raised the alarm on X, wrote, there's a fracas going on presently in Lagos Island, Mandelas to be precise. 2 guys were fighting, and it resulted in the death of one of them. Right now, street urchins have taken the law into their hands, stabbing innocent people on the street. I don't know if you saw those videos. It was terrible, too gory. We can't even play it.
We couldn't even use them today on the show. So gory.
Although, reacting to the post, Benjamin Hundeyin dismissed the claim that miscreants had taken over the area. He said, and I quote, "Your claim of street urchins taking over the street is false. Please do not cause unnecessary panic. DPOs, Lion Building, and Ebutero are currently on ground with their men, maintaining the restored peace. Also, the suspect has been arrested and is in custody for further necessary action." So that's just a follow-up for those who want to know about it. And there was also an agenda that seemed to have been set on social media about it being a tribal war.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to go to briefly, which for me, it just doesn't make sense. 2 people are fighting.
2 fighting.
They are 2 fighting. Let's end it there. Let's not put the names or the tribes or anything. They are just 2 individuals who had a misunderstanding, and unfortunately, one got out of his head and killed the other, which is whether he could claim that it's self-defense, but it's either manslaughter or murder, and let the police treat it the way it's meant to be and investigate it properly. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, the police had said here that the Lagos Police Command hereby wishes to inform the general public that there was no tribal clash or disturbance between any ethnic groups and others inside Balogun Market today. There was an incident of a free-for-all between some hoodlums and miscreants in the Balogun Market in the early hours of today at around 11 a.m. This was, of course, released yesterday. He says, during the fight, one Ebuka Adindu from Abia State stabbed one Sadiq Ibrahim from Kogi State to death. And they said Ebuka Adindu, in turn, stabbed himself on the shoulder and became unconscious. Stabbed himself, stabbed someone else.
I think we'll leave. I think better still, we'll try and reach out to the spokesperson of the Nigerian police force here in Lagos State, and hopefully we'll get
and get some more on it.
The incident is not a tribal clash.
It's not. Let's just put it out there, okay? This is where we come to an end, to the end of the show for today on the Thursday edition. Very interesting, I must say. Very. From the beginning up until now, a lot of counter arguments on our questioning, especially our guests who said, we can't ask them some questions. But then again, what does a journalist do? You ask the questions. Even though they don't seem sweet to the ears, you ask them. Thank you so much, Uade.
And thank you for having me as always. Thank you, Olive. Thank you, Joe.
And to our viewers, those who are streaming live, thank you so much for your engagement in our chats. We'll see you again.
Let's do it again
tomorrow as we close the week in grand style. I am Olive MOD.
I'm Joe Hansen.
Au revoir.